every Poppy Playtime monster explained. It will be pretty laggy, and sorry if it is laggy. Didn't mean to do that. Let's watch this together.
Today, I'm going to be explaining every Poppy Playtime monster in the entire game. All these guys you see on screen, over 50 different toys and all their lore. The rules are, I'm only discussing Playtime Co. toys/monsters, so no employees or obscure unknown experiments, at least for this video. And I'm going to explain each character roughly in order by when we encounter them in the game. But now, let's get into it, starting with Huggy Wuggy. Huggy Wuggy is the main villain in Chapter 1, starting originally as a toy plush created in 1984, being generally a large success, taking inspiration from those monkey Velcro arm plushes, but this time as a fluffy blue monster. As an experiment, Experiment 1170, Huggy was created to be the Playtime Co. security guard, standing up at the top of the factory to attack and stop any would-be intruders from breaking in. However, he wasn't perfect, since Huggy, while generally being quiet and obedient with the staff, had multiple impulsions to try and escape the factory, being successful one of these times where he got outside and attacked multiple animals, employees, and was even spotted in a civilian area where he was finally caught. In the actual game, the player encounters the statue, who is seemingly standing still and inanimate, but then after powering on the door, he mysteriously disappears and watches over us throughout the rest of the chapter, leading up to him finally revealing himself from a dark hallway and chasing us down a ventilation system where we successfully drop a box on his head, dropping him deep below the factory. But he wouldn't leave our minds, as we saw he fell below the water treatment area in Chapter 2, judged from his blood on the pipes, and in Chapter 3, the player had a nightmare about Huggy where he comes through a TV screen and attacks us, leading up to Chapter 4, where Huggy turned out to have actually survived the fall and was repaired from his damages, attacking us one more time on our way to the labs, coming back for more presumably in Chapter 5. Kissy Missy. Following the large release of Huggy Wuggy, Kissy Missy was created as a female recolored counterpart to go alongside him and follow in his successful footsteps, being described as his better half, suggesting they were meant to be partners. As for her monster version, she was Experiment 1172, who, similar to Huggy, was very quiet and generally listened to the staff. However, she was also noted for having struggles with high levels of stress and feelings of impending doom, making her unable to complete any of her tasks.
Oh, guys, I was actually in the stress for a bit because I was connecting my laptop to the charger because it was on 2 battery. I would work for a second, then blah blah blah, and then I was in stress. I told my grandma, and she helped me out. So W grandma.
Constantly rubbing her arms out of anxiety, leading her to temporarily be transported to Storage B, where later on August 8th, they tried to transport her to Playcare conveniently right before the Hour of Joy, an event coordinated by the Prototype, who we talk about a lot later, to get all the toys to attack and kill every Playtime Co. employee, setting themselves free, where in an unlikely fit, despite her peaceful attitude, she as well attack the employees around her, possibly out of fear of what the Prototype would do to her if she didn't listen. However, after the fact in-game, we first see her in Chapter 2, where instead of being violent, she actually helps us, opening a gate allowing us to continue. And in Chapter 3, while she ambushed and jumped on us out of fear at first on our way out of Home Sweet Home, she quickly calmed and continued the rest of our journey with us, seemingly still shaken up from the state of the factory, which would unfortunately culminate in Chapter 3's ending with her being attacked by a mysterious creature, hurting but not killing her, as she would survive and return in the next chapter in a burned and injured state, being brought to the safe haven to treat her injuries. But after the ventilation area Poppy and her were hiding blew up, at the end of Chapter 4, she tried to hold us up and save us, where her arm ripped off, getting lost in the rubble, with her whereabouts remaining a mystery to this day. Bron the Dinosaur. Bron the Dinosaur is a Brontosaurus toy released in 1961, being one of Playtime Co.'s earliest creations, and along with appearing in a bunch of promos and posters, he has a couple physical appearances in the games as well. One, we can see him in Chapter 1's original trailer, suggesting he was supposed to appear in it at one point. Two, we actually see him in the Rejected Toys room, one large, almost bigger body scale toy and a smaller one. Then in Chapter 3, he appeared as bait in the original teaser trailer, although he did make a pretty important lore appearance in the Restricted Restoration VHS tape, where a Playtime Co. employee, Thomas Clark, contracted lung cancer and therefore donated his life to the science and let them try creating him into a small Bron toy, giving us our first and only footage of a